Hello, this is Robert Plenick, the owner of Brutal Iron Gym. I want to show a series of banded exercises that are intended to help improve wrist, elbow, and shoulder structural strength. So I have a client who does arm wrestling, and we mix this in with powerlifting. So we are going through some drills that they can do at home and even back when they're in the regular gym to kind of maintain strength and actually build strength in these joints. So I'm going to show this with a kind of a light band here, a long band. So I'm doing that because I'm lazy and I don't want to have it be too hard for me while I'm trying to show everything. But you would get a tension of a band that's appropriate for the rep ranges we're looking for. So if this would be too easy, you can get a thicker one. And if it's too thick, you can get a thinner one. And also a trick you can do is if you're anchoring this off of a doorway, doorknob, piece of equipment, or anything like I'm using a carabiner here, is I can attach it with just one long strand and do the exercises. However, if that's too easy, I can actually just take the band and take the middle of it onto my anchor, and then I can hold on to the strands like this, and that gives me much more tension. So it depends on if you need to modify. You can make it more difficult by using the middle of the band as your anchor or one of the ends. So what we want to do is we want to play with a couple different motions. So a common exercise people know for shoulder strength is internal and external rotations. So I'll show you an internal rotation with this. I would have the band across my fingers. I can put it into my palm however I want. Just going to hold on to that. And then I want to keep my upper arm close to my body. I'm going to have a little bit of a gap right here due to the size of my lat. But you would want to have your arm pinned in, so it's pinned up here even though there's a little gap there. But I want it to be tight against myself, and I want the band pulling my hand outward, like an outward rotation. I'm going to then try to rotate in and back out without letting my elbow fall away from my body. So the idea is to keep your upper arm nice and stable, and I would rotate in and out. Since we're doing this for arm wrestling, we want to make sure we improve different positioning of the wrist. So I'm going to bring my wrist down so you can see a little bit. But I can do it in a closed position, or I can do it in an open position as well as the neutral. So I can challenge myself by doing it in a closed position like this. You can see my wrist is closed in, and I would try to do the rotations like that for 10 to 20 reps. I can then open my wrist, so I'll give you a view of that, and do 10 to 20 rotations with an open wrist. And that'll change what musculature I use in my wrist. I can also use a neutral position for my 10 to 20 reps. So you would want to do a set of 10 to 20 in each of those three positions. It doesn't matter so much about the order, but if you want to do them all in a row, you would do the weakest position first, then the middle position, then the strongest position. So let's say, for example, the weakest position is an opened wrist. I would do 10 to 20 reps in an open position. I would then turn my wrist to neutral, do 10 to 20 reps, and then I'll turn my wrist to closed and do 10 to 20 reps. That's going to give me good challenge in my wrist. Also, the internal-external rotation comes from shoulder muscles, so I'm going to work on that musculature as well. We also have, you can do bicep curls, so off this, and again, I can do it with different wrist positions. So I can have opened, neutral, and closed. And again, I can do a sequence where I do 10 with an open position, and I don't need to necessarily have a full extension due to the fact that arm wrestling doesn't require that. However, that actually is a really good way to strengthen the connective tissue of the elbow joint, is to have it under full stretch tension rather than always in a closed position, and then in case you ever get into a stretch position, you wouldn't have the strength developed there and you may get injured. So it's best to go ahead and allow that to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and do it with an open wrist. I would do 10 to 20 reps. I'll go to a neutral wrist, 10 to 20 reps. And then I do a closed wrist, 10 to 20 reps. Now, I can do this obviously on both arms. And for the internal-external rotation, I forgot to show the external. So I was showing internal, which was rotating inward. The external would be, I'm now rotating outward. And again, I would do it in the open position, the neutral position, and the closed position. And that will allow me to challenge the joint on both sides. So you want to do internal drills, external drills. The curl, we would want to do obviously one each arm. And you actually can do more movements, but this is a good basic starter video. So I wanted to share this and then I'll be sharing more specific videos with him that if I can find a more general way to do it that will be applicable to everybody, I'll share that as well. So this is just some fun stuff, just showing how you can mix in training for different purposes, and I thought it might be cool to share. Okay, thank you.